Hello, incredible viewers. How's life going? What's up? So, welcome back to my channel Social Science with Shilpa. So, as promised, I have come up with the second part of the chapter How the State Government Works. So, in this chapter, we will talk about the formation and the working of the state government. Stay tuned till the end because there are many new things which are not covered in our course book, even in the NCRT, which I have tried to cover in this video. So, stay tuned till the end. So, let's start. First of all, what we are going to learn in this module of the second part of the chapter, the first is we'll examine the process of formation of the state government in a democratic country like India. Second, we will understand the role of the ministers and the MLAs in the lawmaking procedure. And third, we'll discuss the role of media and the people's participation in the working of the government. Moving to the key terms of the chapter, legislature. So it's an organ of the government. It's a group of people who have the power to make and change law. Then legislation. The procedure to make and pass the law is known as legislation. The next is the bill. It's a proposal, a draft for a new law, or it can be a proposal to amend an existing law. It can be introduced in any house, although there are certain conditions which we'll discuss in grade 8. Let us quickly start with the election procedure for the Legislative Assembly. So first of all, the constituency, the smaller division of the state for the ease of election. Then the different candidates from different political parties, they contest the election, and the registered voters, means whose name is registered in the voters list of that particular constituency. They cast their vote and one representative is elected from each constituency, and that elected person is known as the MLA. And finally, with the elected members, the government is formed. Now, how government is formed, we'll study in the coming slides. You might have seen this type of ballot paper or ballot system in some pictures because now it's an history. Now what is used? Electronic voting machine. So these EVMs are used to cast the vote, the precious vote to the able candidate. So this blue button is pressed because in front of blue button we can see the name of the candidate along with their election symbol. So election symbols, these are the election symbols of various political parties. Only these are some of the political parties, not all. India is a multi-party system with many national and regional parties. Now, quickly moving to the formation of the government. Case 1 of the formation of the government at the Legislative Assembly level. So, single party. Now, in this table, we can see 3 parties have been given and the number of seats won by them. So, if we see, Party A has won the majority. It has 250 seats, whereas the other two parties could manage 100 seats only. So, we can very clearly say that the Party A, which wins more than half the seats, becomes the ruling party. And the other 200 members, these elected members, they will form the opposition. Let us try to understand this with the help of the Delhi Assembly elections 2020. So this map shows the different constituencies and the seat won. So green color represents Aam Aadmi Party, whereas the orange color represents BJP. So out of 70 seats, only 8 seats were won by BJP, rest all 62 were in Aam Aadmi Party. So it is very well evident that Aam Aadmi Party came majority and became the ruling party. The second case study, coalition government. So coalition government is that government. Let us study the table first of all. Here we have party A, B and C, but we can see no parties having more than half seat, any single party. So in such case, what happened? When no single party gets a majority, allies between two or more like-minded parties, and the remaining, they become the opposition. So, if you remember, in this previous video which I have shared recently, the current ruling parties in India, we have read one word named coalition with BJP, coalition with INC. So this is what I meant when I said coalition. Means with BJP, some regional parties, they have collaborated, they have allied to form the ruling party or the ruling government. Clear? Let us try to understand the coalition government with the help of Maharashtra Assembly elections which held last year in 2019. So earlier BJP and Shiv Sena were having close ties as NCP and Congress. But when the results came out, the situation became totally opposite. So BJP and Shiv Sena were together gaining the majority seats, as we can see from this chart, but due to certain reason they could not form the government due to some internal conflicts. So BJP having 105 seats could not form the majority alone, so they needed certain help of some other political parties. At the same time, Shiv Sena started the talks with NCP and Congress to form the government. Although BJP managed to form the government with the help of NCP and Ajit Pawar as the deputy CM, with Devendra Fadnavis as the chief minister of that particular government. But this collaboration, this alliance could not last longer, and finally on 28th November 2019, the governor swore Uddhav Thackeray as the chief minister. So here we can see earlier Shiv Sena and BJP were having ties. Then BJP got alliance with NCP, which could not work out well. So finally, the government went with the Shiv Sena, NCP and INC and few more independent members as an alliance. They formed the Maharashtra Assembly government. So I hope this example is very clear to you all that how the seat goes from one party to another in fraction of days. Let's find out the difference between the ruling party and the opposition party. So the ruling party is if a political party whose MLAs have won more than half the number of constituencies in a state is said to be in majority, and this majority party becomes a ruling party. Whereas the opposition is the other elected members who are the part of the legislature. Coming to the chief minister and his role, so we can see the picture of the first chief minister of Delhi and the current chief minister. So he is the leader of the majority party and is a real head of the state. And if we talk about his roles and responsibilities, he advises the governor on the council of ministers to be selected and the number of ministers to be selected. Secondly, he allocates the portfolio to different ministers. Portfolio means different departments or ministries. Next, he coordinates the function of various departments. And finally, the chief minister with other ministers have the responsibility of running the affairs of the various government departments and the ministries efficiently. So we'll study about the cabinet of ministers in the coming slide. So council of ministers. So there are three types of ministers which come under the heading council of ministers. One is the cabinet minister, then the minister of state and the deputy minister. Each minister have their own responsibilities. They are allocated their different portfolios which they take care of. So in the coming slide, we will see the cabinet ministers, some of the cabinet ministers of the Delhi government. So Legislative Assembly is a place where all the MLAs, whether from the ruling party or from the opposition, they meet and discuss various issues and various topics. Then, therefore, some MLAs have the dual responsibility. Which MLAs? The MLAs which are part of the ruling party. They have some few of the MLAs, they have the responsibility of MLA of their particular area, as well as they are the ministers under the ministry of the under the chief minister. So certain chief ministers and the MLAs, I'm just sharing few of them here. They are some of the MLAs, I would say, who have been elected from their own constituencies and are part of the cabinet ministers as well. A picture of the winners of the Aam Aadmi Party in the election 2020. One portfolio I am sharing here about the Deputy CM of Delhi, Shri Manish Sisodia. So he is holding 7 to 8 departments. And if any department which is not allocated to or allotted to any minister, that also comes under him. So now you can understand what are ministers, MLAs, and the portfolios. So such different departments are allocated to different ministers. So they take care of that particular department and they are responsible for the efficient working of their own department. The speakers of the Vidhan Sabha. So here we have the picture of the first speaker of the Delhi Vidhan Sabha and the current speaker of Delhi Vidhan Sabha. Now, who is a speaker? What is his responsibility? So a speaker, he is the one who presides the meeting, and in his absence, the deputy speaker. Secondly, it is up to the speaker to decide which issue could be discussed and in what order it will be discussed. Thirdly, he or she coordinates the discussions and maintains the order in the house. They ensure that the discussion takes place peacefully. And one more responsibility, they have to ensure that everybody gets time to present their opinion, and may also ensure that the MLAs listen to each other very peacefully in a cordial manner. And finally, when the decision is taken, he is the one, or the she if it's a female, so they take vote on the issues in the house. This was about the responsibility of the speaker, so he plays a very prominent role in the efficient working of the lawmakers. Now the working of the Legislative Assembly along with the state government. So Chief Minister along with his council, now we know the council of ministers, they have to take decisions and run the government. Now it is not only the Chief Minister who performs all this function, he is assisted by his cabinet ministers, but the opposition plays a very active role. The other members, they express their opinions, they ask questions, they give suggestions about what should be done by the government. Moreover, they even debate on important issues and decide where the money should be spent. So this is the very important role of the opposition in the efficient working of the government. Then the ministers, who are the part of the ruling party, the ministers, they have to reply to the questions which are being asked, and they try to assure that the steps are being followed adequately. Finally, whatever decisions are being taken have to be approved by the members. It's not only the ruling party may decide and may implement it. No, all the members of the Legislative Assembly will vote on the topic, vote on that particular decision, and accordingly it will be implemented. So I hope the working of the Assembly and the state government is clear to everyone. Now quickly moving to how a bill becomes a law. So first of all, a bill. What's a bill? It's a proposal for a new law or to amend an existing law. So a bill is proposed in the house. It can be any house. Some conditions apply, which we'll study in the next year. Next is debate on the bill. Then the changes are made accordingly. Then it is sent to the other house. There also the debate takes place. Changes are introduced, recommendations are done, and they are incorporated. Finally, when both the houses they approve the bill, it goes to the governor for his assent. And once the governor signs it, it becomes a law. So this is the procedure how a bill becomes a law. Finally, how the or what is the role of the governor? Because we know, we have seen here, it is only after the sign of the governor that a bill becomes a law. So let us understand who is a governor and what are his roles and responsibilities. So here we have the picture of the first Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and the current Lieutenant Governor. Now, Lieutenant Governor, you might be thinking, ma'am said Governor, but why Lieutenant Governor here? So please remember, kids, Lieutenant Governor is the person in the Union Territory, whereas if it would have been a state, so here the Governor word would be there. So Governor in the states and Lieutenant Governor in the Union Territories, because we know Delhi is a partial state. It is not the state completely. It is a National Capital Territory. So Governor and his role, so he's a nominal head of the state. He is appointed for 5 years by the president, and he is a representative of the central government because he is the one who is a mediator between the central government and the state government. The role and responsibilities. So he oversees the working of the state government. He ensures that the state government work within the rules and regulations of the constitution. Means they don't do anything which is unconstitutional. Thirdly, he appoints the chief minister and other ministers. Although the chief ministers and the ministers are elected by the people, but he is the one who appoints them, who asks them to join the office. He is the one who is there in the swearing ceremony of the chief minister and the various ministers. Finally, all the bills which you have learnt in the previous slide, all the bills passed by state legislature have to be approved and signed by the governor to become a law. So this is about the governor coming to the implementation of the law. Now governor has signed, it has become a law. Now the time to implement it. So how it is implemented? Through the Gazette. It is a document in which the law, whichever new law is made, it is published and a copy of that is handed over to the government officials. Now it's the responsibility of the government officials to ensure the implementation of the law. So we can see the picture, the Gazette of India. Now, most important, very, very crucial role of media. We all know people play a very important role in the working of the government, especially when it is democratic government. So we can participate, first of all, through election, but our work does not stop there. The work actually begins from there because we have to keep a very close eye, vigilant eye on the working. So we can express our opinion and views, we can organize rallies and meetings. Moreover, the use of social media. It helps us to reach out to the government to make our voice heard till the authorities. And the role of the media and the reporters, which is very, very crucial for the common man to reach the government. So this was all about the people's participation and the role of media in the efficient working of a democratic government. Moving to today's question. So when was the last Vidhan Sabha election held in your state? Name any recent bill that has been passed in the Vidhan Sabha of your state. So don't forget to mention it in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and subscribe my channel Social Science with Shilpa. And don't forget to give your valuable suggestions and feedback. Till then, take care. God bless you everyone.